Well, hello. As you can see, I'm back home safely, and it's good to be back with the exception of the humidity and the buggies, but it's good to be back. I decided to just blitz on through Kansas and make it home late last night. And so, as I was going around with my flashlight to check on the chickens and wade through all the things that grew in the several weeks I was gone, I looked up back toward the home, and it was really lovely to see the upstairs light on, and it just made me smile. Um, After my mom had passed away, she had left me a little bit of money, and here in the town I live in, homes are affordable. It's one of the reasons I moved here. And so I took the money and invested it, and was able to pay off a home in full, a large home on a half acre. And I remembered as I was going through the home, I had a whole list of smaller homes I intended to look at, but I was directed toward this one, and it's a large home. And I said, Lord, I don't want a large home. I just want a small home. And he simply said, Kathleen, it will get used. And this was about 4 years ago. And of course, after just watching the signs of the times for so many years, I knew exactly what he meant. Times are going to get hard for, well, any age people, but what came to mind was a young family just struggling to pay rent. And so I said, okay, Lord. And so thankfully, I was able to buy the home outright and have no mortgage. And so fast forward a couple years later, I had been putting word out locally. I had a family here for a little while, but then they decided to go back to California. And so I got a text from a young lady, a single mom she was an aide while my mom was briefly in the nursing home, and lovely young gal with several little children. And she said, Kathleen, I need a place. I said, you betcha. Please come. And the beautiful thing for her is that it's rent free and she pay only utilities. The beautiful thing for me is I have children in my life. I don't have any grandchildren, so I got all these little ones in my life now. And so I have a nice little space, which was all I wanted in the first place, in the back. So it's a perfect situation. So all of that to say, um, it just warmed my heart, like I said, to see the light on upstairs as I'm going around in the dark checking on things last night. And it brought to mind, the fact that we are studying together how to overcome, and every last bit of it is so counterintuitive, as everything Jesus taught. Love our enemies, do good to those who persecute you, pray for those who speak evil of you. It's all something we, in our human natural man, would not do. But if we are in Christ, well, it's what he commands us to do, and this is part of the obedience that we're all discussing together. So it says in James 2, starting in verse 14, what does it profit, my brethren, if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Can faith save him? If a brother or sister is naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you says to them, depart in peace, be warmed and filled, but you do not give them the things which are needed for the body, what does it profit? Thus also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. And I think what I'm doing, and maybe it's a little easier for me to do because I'm getting on in age and hopefully won't be on this planet too much longer. I'd love to be with the Lord soon. Maybe it's easier for me to kind of give things away and do things, um, just not terribly concerned about my finances right now. And I'd like to think it's because I'm stepping out in faith and saying, Lord, someone else needs it more than I do. And I'm trying hard to just live on Social Security, but still, there's someone out there who has a lot less than I do. I've been very blessed. And so by faith, I step out and just in obedience give, like it suggests in James. Be warmed, be filled here. And so it's been a real blessing. And I happen to be reading through this journal I just keep with all kinds of fun stuff in it. And I came across this just the other day that I had written several years ago. It says, love is not a sentimental feeling. Rather, it is a sacrificial action. It means interrupting my schedule, expending my money, risking my reputation, ruining my property. And so, I have to admit right there, I'm kind of a neatnik. And I thought, hey, gads, 3 kids, and I don't know what her cleaning habits are like, but I said, nope, Lord, this isn't about me. This is about serving you and being obedient. So let them carry on. And I told her, don't worry. We do have a dividing wall between us, and so their life is private. But it was neat for me to give that up, my neat tendencies. So I kind of chuckled at it. And so love means ruining my property, even for a stranger, so that I can do what's best for him. Love is the compassion that feels, the care that involves, and the commitment that endures. Love originates from the giver of love, meaning Jesus, not the object of love. Love initiates, taking the first step in reaching out to those in need. Love pays the ultimate price, going to extraordinary length to help the hurting. And I kind of wanted to bring this in conjunction with everything I've been talking about, these times we're living in. I haven't personally been bringing up all the things I'm learning. I'm going to let Jamie Walden and some other people who really talk well on the subject do that for you. And again, to kind of light that fire under your fanny and go, my goodness, what's going on out there, and how can I, as a Christian, best serve others and be obedient to the Lord? And so I want to encourage, if there's any among you that are empty nesters living in a large home, or you have just a little extra savings, there's other people out there who need it more. We ought to step out in faith and say, Lord, I don't want to hold this too tightly to my chest, because then I'm closing my fist and holding on to it. How can I just trust you, open up my hands, and serve others? So I wanted to suggest that as another one of our obeying Jesus steps and overcoming, because ultimately we will overcome to the end by the precious blood of the Lamb, the word of our testimony, and not loving our lives, whatever that might look like. I don't think it necessarily means just an execution someday. I think it means giving up the comfortability in our lives and whatever we may need to do in our own, giving up our comfortability or what we hold dear, and helping others. And so this whole video came from me checking on the chickens and seeing a light upstairs. And so I just want to encourage that. If you have extra space in your home, a few extra dollars, folks, there's going to be people suddenly losing their jobs. Kids can't afford the rent anymore. I hear that over and over and over again. Things are going to be so different in the world that we grew up in, especially if we're older, when our dads had a 9 to 5 and they could pay the mortgage. It just isn't that kind of world anymore. And so if you have space, if you have a few extra bucks, a closet full of clothes, whatever, ask the Lord, how can I best serve you, Lord, with these things that I have? So that's all for now. It's good to be back. I'm going to go pick up Sparky. I've had a dear friend watch after Sparky in case you were wondering where he is. And as soon as he settles down, I'll bring him on to say hello. Anyway, the Lord be with you. Grace and peace to you all. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.